and cycling becomes a lot more difficult when you are on the winning hand.
Yep, seems like the draft has already gone underway. Kingdom Esports on first pick. Farsa and Alice being banned away by the coach LY4. It is also IC Frost is also gracing the stage for the side of Kingdom. Oh, hold on. I think the coach is a little bit switched off. It is actually Coach LY4 for the side of Ignite Gaming, Coach IC Frost, and also Sammy for the side of Kingdom Esports. And yeah, right. Just take a look at the bans coming out from the side of Ignite Gaming. They are not dealing with the CC. They're not dealing with the bugs. Yeah, they're hinting that they're going to go for slightly more tankier and also regenerative heroes. For example, like the Fredrins. For example, like perhaps even your Angela may appear as well.
Yep. Understandably, I would say that based on yesterday's games, I would want to see Yon back into these assassin junglers once again, right? Yu Sun-shin, definitely we have seen a resurgence of Yu Sun-shin through the past few weeks. He's definitely strong and enables the team to play a lot more early into the game by omitting a proper marksman in the gold lane. But perhaps a little bit of traditional way of playing might actually work a little bit better for Kingdom Esports. Which in this case, it doesn't seem like they are going to be snap-picking onto the Yi Sun-shin. I would say good start, probably, because...
Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of this first pick, Chip, right?
Okay.
Because Ignite Gaming, that's the reason why Kingdom Esports banned away the Alice, because Alice has always been one of the biggest counters against what Chip wants to do, but there's also other ways to deal with what the Chip wants to do in the ultimate, right? You draft a Minotaur, you draft a Lord E, or even go with like real world manipulation, like Eve as well, to basically counteract against when everybody comes up from the shortcut.
Yeah, I think since yesterday's games, after looking at how Evil played against the Alice, they leaked the Alice twice with no problems dealing with it again.
That's right.
Wouldn't be too surprised if we'll start to see teams that just leaks Alice and just, hey, you know what, let's just try it out.
Yep.
Let's see whether Evil is right on the money.
I think Kingdom Esports not taking that gamble though. They're not as foolhardy like Team Evil. They don't really have the points to basically wiggle around, right? Don't forget, these two teams are literally battling against each other, right? Kingdom Esports is currently at 3rd position. Ignite Gaming is at 4th position. The points is just 1 point away. They're gonna use each other as a stepping stone to be able to confirm and hopefully go into the playoffs without going through the scenic route.
Now, understandably, I would say that, okay, so last we checked, it does seem like there's something wrong with the lobby. So I'm not exactly sure if whether the draft is going to move forward, if whether Kingdom Esports will still stick to that chip first pick. But we'll get back to you guys real quickly if whether that is actually going to be the case.
Yep, I think if you want to compare these two teams right off the bat, between Kingdom Esports and Ignite Gaming, right? Both of these two teams actually play an equal amount of games, but in terms of comparisons, in terms of the game stats, for example, the game win rates, be it like the average KD, average total, lords, and also turrets, it's all leaning towards the side of Kingdom Esports. It feels like Kingdom Esports definitely has a better grasp in terms of how the game is, evidently based on the game win rate. However, the points are just like 1 point difference, right? I think in terms of both these two teams, in fact, Lords being secured by the side of Kingdom Esports a lot more as compared to Ignite Gaming. And this shows that, Ignite Gaming, when it comes to the later parts of the game, they don't really have a very smart way of basically navigating around the late parts of the game. Whereas for the side of Turtles, it is still also leaning towards the favor of Kingdom Esports. Seems like, Kingdom Esports definitely has a better chance of winning based on the stats and based on the games that they've played before.
Okay, news is in. We will be restarting the lobby. So we will get back into the lobby real quickly. However, nothing is going to be changed when it comes down to the drafting. So it will be the same, where Lolzy picks up that chip for the team. And I would like to believe that the bans are all going to be the same. While we are on the topic about IG, right? Ignite Gaming, so far, it looks like the overall stats is weighing heavily in favor for Kingdom Esports, right? While the only thing that we gotta have to remember, one thing is, Ignite Gaming have only took a win against RSGSG. So that is a total of 2 games won in a row. RSG didn't hold a candle against them. However, let's also remember that Ignite Gaming managed to take 1 game off of Flash. So I think that they are still a team that will be able to show quite a bit of promise. While on the other hand, Kingdom Esports, they won against AZ in a 2-0 sweep. RSG, they won in 2-1 fashion. So if we are trying to use RSGSG as kind of a control, technically speaking, IG did better than Kingdom Esports in dominating or winning against RSG. So coming into the game today, you can cross-refer in some sense that IG might have a better edge against Kingdom Esports just because of matchup, but not necessarily in terms of stats.
Yeah, but that's also the different RSG, right? Sorry, it's not a different RSG. I think RSG in week 2 have shown some growth, and especially Hoki, right? Hoki on that Franco, it's just caused a lot of havoc against Kingdom Esports yesterday, and it goes to show. And I think, of course, we shouldn't count RSG out as of yet. I feel like they still need a lot more time in training and basically work out the chemistry and also what they have to do in terms of the basics in MPL. And I kind of have to agree with you to a certain extent where, yeah, Kingdom Esports, I think that game yesterday was a little bit off. I feel like they're trying to do too many things at once, and the whole fight was kind of split up. The damage dealers, I remember we were talking about this yesterday, whereas FMM and also Grant, I think they're not able to output enough damage, and Drin Insanity and also Lozy is super far ahead, whereas Yon is unable to find any form of entrance. And I feel like I want to blame that Yushin because it's so hard for the Yushin to basically enter, especially when fights get super messy.
Okay, so Yushin might actually be more is truly a double-edged sword.
It is.
In your opinion. When KE does pick that up. So we'll see if that's going to change anything, because one thing's for sure is KE first pick under the chip, so they are not going to be having that Yushin for themselves. IG then will have the opportunity to get
there are no shortcuts in life.
but whether Zach will play that is the absolute question.
Yep, based on Zach, what he's played before, he's played the Fredrin, he's played the Guinevere, he's played the Lancelot, and also Fanny. In fact, he played 2 rounds of Fanny and 1 round of Lancelot. Both these two heroes, he said he wasn't able to find any form of success. In fact, he's played Guinevere to 100% win rate. I mean, it's a very small sample size, right? He's only played it twice, and it seems like he's gonna go and lock that in for himself.
I find it relatively interesting for them to prioritize Guinevere that early for an R1, R2 pick. Sounds like they are locking themselves into a very specific strategy that we will probably only find out later on. Maybe we're looking at some synergistic combo, but normally we will always see a Guinevere being paired with a Kalia. However, the Kalia has already been banned out. So they need some more forms of, I would say, catch, right? Because if you're looking at Kalia, Kalia will need looking at catch. So IG needs to supplement for that.
Phobius being selected by the side of Kingdom Esports. Phobius is really struggling in this particular patch due to the roam gold changes. It really forces the Phobius to really have to work doubly hard to basically pick up the necessary items. But Phobius is actually a very good counter towards, the 1-1 that's potentially being picked up by the side of Seiji right here. Well, definitely it's going to be picked up by Seiji right here. And if you take a look at Phobius in terms of the win rate, it's only 20%, and it's already picked 5 times. So it's not exactly very ideal, which means that it's out of 5 times they only win once.
That's kind of pathetic.
It's the results doesn't look really good.
Now, in the meantime, it does seem like Yves has also been picked from the side of IG. So that also means that it does seem as though they really want to play
within the box.
Yeah, number one within the box, and they do have some pretty good aerial denial. So it is definitely a counter pick against that chip, right? You drop a shortcut and the Yves can immediately box everyone in and create some havoc, right? The moment they come out, oh crap, I am in burning lands, my movement speed is slowed, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think right now it just means that Lozi needs to try to catch the Eve as quickly as possible, so that if he gets caught, if the Eve gets caught, it's great because it's going to be awkward for her to really open up the real world manipulation, because it's a box. It's not like a far cell where it's a circle around you. This is a box that you need to aim to a certain direction, but then because if the chip decides to crash onto you, you are the center of attention. And for the side Ignite Gaming, I kind of looking back at this 1-1 pick, and I was like, yeah, this is a not bad 1-1 pick, because Chip is definitely going to have a little bit of trouble, especially catching on to the 1-1. 1-1 could just purify herself with the second skill and then move on and try to play something else.
Now, understandably, as we slowly move on to the next phase of the bans, we already have the Akai and Irithel that have dropped in. Franco has also been taken away from the side of KE, not giving the opportunity for Rapidud for that Franco. In fact, I really like the ban on Franco. It fulfills the condition of needing that pick of potential, since that Kalia has already been taken away. But it does seem as though there is a pattern here from the side of KE, is to eliminate heroes that have burst potential as well as pick of potential.
Yeah, definitely, right? And also another thing that Kingdom Esports was struggling against the Franco yesterday against RSGSG. So I think it's just, covering what they're weak at as of now. But we have yet to see the pick coming up from the side of Grant, from the side of be it a Yon as well, right? I don't know why I'm still hoping and wishing for a Bane, because this is a very good Bane pick, right? You need something to burst to follow up with a chip. And especially when Chip brings you the shortcut all the way close to somebody, you could just deadly catch somebody right in the face and basically push that Eve away. Terizla will be selected by Yuta from the side of Ignite Gaming.
I find that Terizla to be pretty interesting.
It keeps everybody inside the box.
It does, yeah. So it does work within their condition. It's definitely not a XP laner that we see all the time. That means that one thing's for sure is that IG don't have someone that can play according to the current meta, such as going in, poking, and absorbing damage. Generally, Terizla is really good at tanking, so he can immediately pop in and initiate. So it does seem as though they want to use a Terizla as the initiator, which also leaves... Actually, now that you think about it, it also leaves a bit of room for us to play an enchantment support.
Lancelot selected by Yon. He's definitely going to be very happy about that one. Grandeur will be the preference for the side of Grand. You got a decent amount of damage coming out from the Grandeur because of the burst from the Rhapsody. There's also the Kimi, so these two really pair very well together. The Phobius will be the meat shield for the side of Kingdom Esports, and there's a load of damage packed inside Kingdom Esports side of the roster. I feel like right now, Ignite Gaming, since they're banned away the CC, I'm thinking about a high loss as well, so that they can quickly go run down the Glorious Pathway to reinforce whoever that gets caught, the law and order, to make sure that if somebody gets caught inside the real world manipulation, they get stuck right there.
Sand rises when I
Or
get
Khalid could also work as well.
Okay, so they are locking doubly down onto ways to initiate, right?
Yep.
So Khalid being the roamer as well as the Terizla in the XP lane, this generally just means that, okay, we've got two ways of initiation, both of which are very similar in style and fashion. They continuously lock down in crowd control and plays for team fight. This is a very team fight oriented draft, but in terms of kill potential, it's more front to back because we are focused more onto that 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 definitely needs to be the main target for the side of Kingdom Esports. Ignite Gaming needs to get Seiji up and running as quickly as possible. Knowing his pattern is that he doesn't really like to venture out the map until he's confident in fighting. Usually, a 1-1 needs seeing what Seiji has been building for the past few weeks. He's been building a lot of the Hearthclaws, Windtalker kind of build, so it's gonna take a long time for her to really get up to speed. So I think Ignite Gaming needs to find ways to stall and hold That's where the Kali comes into play. That's why the Terizla come into play to basically elongate this fight as long as possible.
With it all said and done, ladies and gentlemen, into the Land of Dawn we go for the very first game of the day between Kingdom Esports and Ignite Gaming, with both of the junglers that will be starting in the top half of the map. So that means that they will finish off their jungle rotation down at the bottom. And the bottom lane just so happens to be, I would like to believe, is a gold laner. Yes.
Yep. I would say definitely Grant in the early game is going to have a little bit of tougher time to basically aim down 1-1 because 1-1 can just jump around and do, 1-1 things. But the wave clear will be a lot more faster as compared to Grant, so maybe expect Kingdom Esports to rotate all the way down bot or basically play around the bottom side of the map a little bit more. Phobius is going to be a very neutral lane, but hold on a second, a lot of damage onto Blade. Blade burns the flicker already. Rapidude lands some damage onto FMM. Will not be able to find anything for now, but Ignite Gaming, some chip damage was already done between each other.
Does seem as though Ignite Gaming already have good information about the fact where the opponent jungler is already at. Rapidude just got himself out of the way, and it seems as though we have got a very aggressive play coming in from both of these two teams.
Yeah, 2 flickers already burned off in the 1 minute and 30 seconds mark for the side of Ignite Gaming. Kingdom Esports must be really satisfied about it because this delays, the Raging Sandstorm flicker combo going towards the turtle side later on, and also not only just that, the repositioning of the real world manipulation for Blade is definitely going to be impaired.
As the river is just going to be flowing towards the northern side, Rapidude hoping to be able to find some opportunity, but none of them are at level 4 just yet. The only initiating factor that we can expect to see is going to be the Terizla. I don't think that Insanity will be able to put too much pressure this early just yet, but still, there is a lot of passive damage that he can put out.
Yeah, doesn't have the Infernal Pursuit as you but hold on a second, it's going to be the Utah going in with the penalty zone right here. Real world manipulation coming up from Blade to kind of zone out. Securing Turtle for the side of Ignite Gaming. No way for Kingdom Esports to step on in. Ignite Gaming picks up the Turtle.
That's a good initial pick coming in from Zach, completely disabling Kingdom Esports' opportunity to get their very first turtle. How much does this impact the early stage of the game for Kingdom Esports? That is the question. Because at this point in time, the way that Kingdom Esports wants to play is more towards the mid stages of the game, right?
Yep.
They don't have someone that is really utterly strong right out the bat. While in the meantime, Rapidude as well as Terizla, they do have very strong base damage right off the bat. So they can play in the early game. They can try to snowball and just put Kingdom Esports at a hard deficit.
Yeah, right now Kingdom Esports definitely down at the hard deficit. I agree. Lozy is struggling at level 3, whereas Rapidude is swimmingly around level 4 already, and he has more engagement. That's also the main reason why Kingdom Esports lost out in that teamfight, because of these EXP differences. And now Lozy taking some form of damage right here. Does have the shortcut ready, but he's not going to deploy it as of yet.
It's not going to be easy for Kingdom Esports to immediately swing the game into their favor. It will take time.
What is this angle? The fact that this Gamabuta is a paid actor?
It sounds more like a duck, actually.
You sound like a duck. That was you.
All the time. All these times, the frog sounds were just me. Now you know.
Yeah, I checked back the stream.
You actually did?
Yes, I did. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. That I was literally, after the show yesterday.
The very fact that you might think that is the game means I did well.
You must be a voice actor. Yeah. But I think right now it's just, Kingdom Esports Ignite Gaming especially, it's a little bit of a slow burn coming out from Kingdom Esports. And that's exactly what Ignite Gaming wants to do, right? They need Seiji to be up and running as quickly as possible. And of course, Zach as Zach as the Guinevere is more than happy to basically elongate this fight.
As now the turtle currently stays available for Ignite Gaming to get priority on. We do have the Rapidude that is going all crazy behind.
Shortcut activated, but like what I mentioned, Blake here comes a real world manipulation to kind of stall out just a little bit more. Yon will be there to secure the turtle for himself as Seiji takes up into the air, tags onto Yon, but not enough damage to secure the deal. Insanity goes down for the damage from the side of Blade, but Grant will trade for Utah, and Grant stepping forward looking for more, but Rapidude is surfing on sand on the river, and he's just zooming out of there. Speaking about zooming, Yon styling onto Blade as he goes in for a hard invade onto the purple buff of Ignite Ignite Gaming.
Looks like that wouldn't be too big of a problem for Kingdom Esports to be able to yoink that purple buff away from Ignite's Gaming's face. Now, understandably, looking at that turtle fight, it seems as though that Ignite Gaming is supposed to win in that fight in most situations because of the raw damage that they have that can put out over to Kingdom Esports. But it does seem as though that we cannot immediately take... Oh, wait, hold on, hold.
Yon is starting to rack up a lot of damage, and I really echo with you, Abstract, right? Ignite Gaming is doing everything right. Kingdom Esports slam onto Blade, Blade burn the flicker, real world manipulation in that awkward to basically kind of trap everybody coming out from the shortcut. But it seems like Kingdom Esports unfazed. They're focusing on onto the turtle, and then after that rotate to start killing Ignite Gaming.
I would like to believe that there is still opportunity for Ignite Gaming to continue on with a tad bit of a snowball. But I think that the problem also lies on the fact that, yes, they have very strong early game powers, early game power from the Terizla as well as the Khalid. But I don't think that they are really supporting that fact, right? Because Terizla is, look at him, he's currently all the way back. They do not have a lot of emphasis onto the XP laner to unlock him at all. In fact, they are making sure that the farm actually goes to 1-1.
Traction Pulse catching onto Blade as well, but hold a second. So many damage being poured onto Blade, immediately deleting off. Seiji will be able to jump into the air, tempting the turret just a little bit more. Whoa, for the side of Kingdom Esports, he takes FMM down, and Low Z from the side of Kingdom Esports as well. Ignite Gaming, on the other hand, losing 3 members, and Seiji this time around may have jumped a little bit too far to the sun. Icarus getting burned. Grant picking up a double kill already.
I would say that that's hands-on just a very scrappy fight from the side of Ignite. Number one is the fact that they did not really have got Yuda joining into the fight immediately. In fact, I would much prefer to have Yuda to be more of an initiator, but they don't really find a way to unlock him at all. He's just kind of stuck in his lane, and thus there is quite a bit of a gap between their between their initiator, their roamer, and the rest of the team. I think that the priority is placed a little bit wrongly. Shouldn't be focusing so much on the Seiji because Seiji takes time to pop off. It seems like they want to accelerate Seiji's growth, but that is just not quite enough if they want to play in the early game with this draft.
Yeah, definitely right. Grant is definitely will outpace Seiji in terms of growth, but in terms of ceiling, Seiji is gonna scale even harder as compared to Grant. But I think if we have a bit of an item check, Grant right now should have a Sky Piercer that's 4 stacks, or at least 2 to 3 stacks right into his pocket already, and he's starting to output some good amount of damage against Ignite Gaming. Ignite Gaming, on the other hand, needs to start catching. I feel like Kingdom Esports has been always the one that pulls the trigger to basically find onto the initiation, onto Ignite Gaming, and unfortunately for that, Blade was the first casualty, right? Immediately removing him from the fight. And if you look at the rest of roster from the side of Ignite Gaming, they don't really have a lot of damage left.
Yeah, most of the time, Ignite Gaming is the one that got caught off guard. If they were to kind of travel together, it might be a...
I think they're doing it right now.
Yeah, it might give them a better result. As you can see, Conceal, Yuda, starting things off.
Insanity burns the flicker already. Some form of utility already committed by the side of Ignite Gaming. Unable to catch Insanity right there.
So this is unfortunate. Ignite Gaming finally came together to try to set up for a kill or to set up for a gank. All 5 of them. But it just so happens that Kingdom Esports, either they read Ignite Gaming like a book, or they just so happen to split themselves up, whereby there is 1% at the bottom lane and I think 2% up to the top lane. This means that there is quite a bit of lane pressure coming in from 2 sides of the map, and also good amount of economy that's distributed to everyone here in Kingdom Esports. The fact that Ignite Gaming, all 5 of them clumped together and didn't get a kill is going to be a very painful toll. It's going to put a painful toll onto their tempo.
Lozy hasn't shown himself. That's why Ignite Gaming is forced to run in packs, because if you isolate yourself, rest assured Lozy just run you down right there, brings the rest of the members coming up from Kingdom Esports. Hold on a second, Ignite Gaming will be able to catch on to Insanity. Insanity goes into the air to avoid the damage. Yuta credited for the kill.
2 ultimates to get a kill down onto the Phobias. I'll say that it is pretty decent considering the fact that the Lord has already been taken away. So you're gonna have to find a trade one way or another. The cooldowns will be off, the ultimate cooldowns will be off by the time the Lord eventually hits them, and they need to find a way to defend this middle lane after all. And without Insanity, I think that's going to help them quite a bit.
Yeah, but there's a Lord marching down at the bottom lane, and with FMM that could wave clear from afar, I think there's no problem coming up from the side of Kingdom Esports to basically hold this down. Just take a look at how healthy that Kingdom Esports mid lane looks like, and Yuta is just receiving free damage from the side of Yuta, and he is struggling to get out of it. Grant is just dismantling top side. Bot side is basically also getting dismantled as well. Ignite Gaming invested all their stats in attack, but forgot to invest in defense.
I would say that at least they managed to hold that middle, never mind.
Yeah, you said it too early, like what I mentioned. I know we always say the best offense is the best defense, but sometimes you gotta also figure out your defense because Yuta is just getting melted. And now the Skyburst attack in the pockets of Grant as Yon just shings around, finds Blade, tries to slicing out with his namesake, and will not be able to find a kill though, but it is still damage dealt by the side of Kingdom Esports.
A 5,000 gold lead in favor for Kingdom Esports as they manage to dismantle all of the outer turrets already. With quite a bit of creeps marching down the middle lanes, that is the holy defense that has been dispelled. In fact, down to the bottom lane as well, there's no more holy defense, so this is going to be a charge.
Zac tried to jump right there. Blade used a real world manipulation. Yon finds the Thorn Rose as well, trying to get out of there. He will be able to escape. What an escape artist! But Rapidude has not something to say about that one. Grand will be there, but Yon, ooh, like what I mentioned, still manages to get out alive because Grand took down Rapidude.
I thought he died because he just disappeared right after that that Raging Sandstorm.
The iframes.
Yeah, it kind of seems as though his Thorn Rose came right off cooldown at the exact timing. So if you really want to jump in, man, it's tough.
More damage being poured right down the throats of Ignite Gaming. They cannot actually swallow everything coming up from the side of Kingdom Esports. It was a slow burn start for the side of Kingdom Esports. Ignite Gaming definitely has the early game, but now they're struggling.
Honestly, this really feels more like the Kingdom Esports that we would have expected, right?
Clean
methodical execution. I would say that... I would say, you know what? I actually would say that Longzy has tuned down quite a bit. He is not as aggressive that I was looking for. That could also be one of the main problems in the past few games because he was way too aggressive and his team can't catch up and just, you know, it's very difficult to go ham. This time, I think he's a little bit more reserved. He's a little bit more methodical and he's looking for the exact right time instead of going every time.
Yeah, this is not basically his old RSG stack, right? Where they're basically playing one mine. This is a completely new team that he's playing against Ignite Gaming. And I echo with what you said, right? The adaptations coming up in Kingdom Esports is there. It feels like they had some heart-to-heart talk last night all the way to 4 AM. That's why Yon was yawning earlier just now.
It's gonna be a rough night for them. Or rather, it probably was a rough night for them. But hey, to be fair, they did win their games yesterday.
Yeah, dropping one game against RSG is not exactly ideal for the side Kingdom Esports. And now you see how Kingdom Esports slows down the tempo right now, cutting off any form of information over the side Ignite Gaming. Yes, Ignite Gaming still has the base turret still up, but hold on a second, Yuta tried to explore the map just a little bit more. World manipulation a little bit too shallow right there, will not be able to catch anybody at all. And despite the information, Kingdom Esports, just look at Yon, is starting to enclose the fight as well as Grand just out with the damage onto Zac, picking up a double kill. Seiji is down, a triple kill over the Grand at the same time. Rapidude as Yon slice and dices onto Yuta, takes Yuta down at the same time. Blade's the only one left alive from the side of Ignite Gaming if Yon has something to do about it.
This is going to be a rough defense coming in from Ignite Gaming as Dutch. Blade is the only one available. Everyone is now on cooldown, and this is just going to be an absolute end for Ignite Gaming's game number 1.
Clean, methodical. It's not like the nuclear warhead that we always expect from the side of Lozy when he plays the any form of roam, right? This is a very controlled chaos, controlled aggression of Kingdom Esports, a very different breed that we see as compared to the past few weeks.
A word that we always like to use, organized chaos.
Yep. Basically trying to do the winning condition that I really feel like Ignite Gaming is trying to set off, right? Get Seiji up to speed as quickly as possible, but of course, his counterpart is definitely going to be the MVP of the game, Season 10, mind you. 10-0-0, that's his KDA. And he's just gunning everybody down from the side of Ignite Gaming.
Easy game for Grant. Easy game. hopefully it would not be that easy for them because I really want to see them struggle a little bit.
you sicko.
Oh, sadistic. Man, I forgot how the goal went. You know which song I'm talking about.
I did not catch that.
No,
No, I did not catch that.
Never mind.
All right, never mind. But
The anime opening thing.
okay, I did not catch any of your reference.
No, never
I
mind.
think we're not in sync today, Abstract.
Yeah. I'm so
But anyways, I really feel like Ignite Gaming is actually trying to go for that long-term investment plan to get CG up online. Technically speaking, they're going to have to trust Yuta in to be able to deal with Jinsanity, but it seems like Jinsanity is unfazed, right? He was able to hold down, and don't forget, to a certain period of time, Kingdom Esports, Lozy is only level 3. They won the first turtle for the side Ignite Gaming, but they're unable to, rotate or basically road bigger as compared to Kingdom Esports.
Understandably, when you actually give quite a bit of kills over to a Granger that early into the game, is definitely, yes, it is definitely an uh-oh situation for Ignite Gaming. I think that is rough because they helped Gold Lane, but they still lost to lost to the opponent Gold Laner. Not the best case scenario. And in the meantime, Yuta 2-4-2, not exactly the best either.
Yeah, and don't forget, there's a few times where Kingdom Esports use Lozy to catch the right targets, but Ignite Gaming got a better positioning. But it's just somehow in terms of their team fights, maybe it's just Insanity knocking everybody up, causing everybody from the side of Ignite Gaming unable to do anything at all, and also the lack of damage from the full roster. Technically, yes, Blade does decent damage. Zac as well, Yuta at the same time, but without Seiji, it's not like what Kingdom Esports have, right? They can basically send like the main four, which is like Lozy, FMM, and also Yon, and also to a certain extent Insanity. These 4 players from side Kingdom Esports do a lot of damage as well as compared to Ignite Gaming's 4 players right there.
Now, itemizations wise, honestly, I'm trying to look for something a little bit interesting for them, but not quite there.
I mean, Khalid going for the Thunderbelts, looking to go for the long term. That's what I mentioned as well.
There is something interesting, and that is going to be the Terizla. He did build the War Axe onto himself. He also built that Queen's Wings, which is actually the problem, in my honest opinion, because he's one of the other heroes that can actually build up quite a bit of tanky items to be that to be that strong force that is very difficult to take away. Yep, in fact, just going for pure full defense is going to help the team a lot more rather than to rely on attacks to heal back.
Yeah, but I think if you look at the 4 people that I was pointing out for the side Ignite Gaming minus Gold Laner, right, they're really running out of damage. So they're hoping that the Terizla could build even slightly more damage. That's why War Axe is the first item, because the tankiness definitely come from Zac and also Rapitude already. You don't really need another tanky boy. Whereas for the side of Kingdom Esports, Yon and FMM are just outputting damage as well. Lozy's damage in terms of just as numbers alone is also quite nutty as well. Jinsanity will be the one that's holding down the fort. So yeah, I think that's what Ignite Gaming's thinking, and that's why Yuta probably went for more damage items.
That is actually where I would disagree, to be fairly honest. In the early stages of the game, if you are able to get a good amount of tankiness, you are generally going to be able to, prolong the fight longer. I mean, you're able to prolong the fight longer and be able to basically attack your way to victory. Because Kingdom Esports lineup, let's be honest here, is actually not super tanky. We are looking at Insanity as well as Lozy only, and in the meantime, Yon is very dependent on skills and abilities. Grant, skills and abilities, FMM, basic attacks, right? So if you're able to whittle down and make them use of their cooldowns and you'll survive all that, that is the comeback mechanic.